breakfast is the most important meal of the day. You probably heard this before. I heard a lot of times. And in today's video, we're going to talk about that. Is actually breakfast the most important meal of the day? Should you have breakfast? Should you skip breakfast? What should you eat when you actually break the fast? When you should be eating? And exactly the order of the foods that you should be eating. So we're going to cover everything. Now, the two biggest mistakes that I see is, one, you're starting the day with a bunch of caffeine, cappuccinos or frappuccinos or lattes, and with croissant, pastry, toast, which gives you basically zero of protein. And then I see the second mistake, which is excessive fasting. So you don't eat the first 5, 6, 7 hours of the day, and then you're breaking the fast with the wrong food. So these are the two main mistakes. Either you're starting the day with the wrong foods, or you simply don't eat anything, which will make you therefore eat more later on, and it's spiking your cortisol levels. You're not eating for 5 or 6 hours, and then you're stressed, and then you put a bunch of caffeine, and this is spiking your cortisol. So these are the two mistakes that I see. Now, you're probably identifying yourself with one of these mistakes because these are way too common. And in today's video, we're going to cover exactly that. We're going to cover exactly how you should be eating, what you should be eating, when you should be eating. So in case your glucose levels are normal, but you feel off, maybe you're insulin resistant and you don't even know. You might be insulin resistant for 5, 10, 15 years, and this is giving you already some signs that you might become diabetic, even though your glucose levels are normal. However, you can reverse that situation if you simply eat what I'm going to show you today, because this meal will give you whole foods, plenty of protein, plenty of fiber, some healthy carbohydrates as well, which, by the way, you need them. You don't need to cut carbohydrates in order to get rid of the belly fat. That's a common misconception. It's not going to make you lose fat. You might lose some weight, but that's not necessarily good, because your goal should be performance. Your goal should be improve lean muscle, improve performance, lose fat without compromising lean muscle. And if you eat exactly what I'm going to show you today, you're going to have all of that. This will improve your metabolic markers and your body composition. Now, how you should start the day? First, for you to understand, you still can eat your carbs. The problem is that most people start with carbs. Just by changing the order, all of it will fall in place. So you want to start first with protein, fiber, and leave the carbs to after. So this is something that I tell my clients, which is you don't need to eliminate carbs. Now, how should you structure your breakfast? First thing, protein is the anchor. You need to aim for 40 grams of protein at least. And how you're going to get that, I'm going to show you exactly how you're going to get 40 grams of protein. So it's super easy. In my case, and by the way, I'm going to show you real life in a while my final breakfast. I'm just going to show you how easy it is to get protein. So you have eggs, right? Everyone knows that protein is a good source of, eggs are a good source of protein. Not the best source of protein, by the way. If you're eating 1 egg or 2 eggs for breakfast, 1 egg is 6 grams of protein, 2 eggs, maybe around 12 grams. It's not enough. So you want to complement that not only with eggs, but with egg whites. So egg whites, so add a couple of egg whites to 2 eggs, 3 eggs, 4 eggs, whatever you want. I personally have 2 eggs or 3 eggs per day with 100 grams or 120 grams of egg whites. Then what I do is I have Greek yogurt, this one, high protein. This one is massive. This one has 200 grams. First, Greek yogurt. Check the Greek yogurt. You don't want flavored Greek yogurts, and ensure that it has at least 12 to 14 grams of protein. There are a lot of Greek style yogurts that have 4 grams of protein. So check the label. You're not going to be hungry for 4 or 5 hours. You're going to be satiated. You're going to have less. You're not going to have any insulin spike. You're still going to have an insulin spike. But the thing is that when you're eating protein, you spike a little bit your insulin, not that much, and you're going to be fully satiated, no cravings later on. When you eat fats, you minimize insulin spikes as well. That's why the perfect combination for breakfast to break the fast is protein, fats, and fiber. And when you eat carbs, you spike your insulin more. Now, again, I'm not saying carbs are bad. You just want to change the order. So I'm just showing you how easy it is to get protein. We're talking about protein here. After this, or along with this, you will eat fats. Protein and fats are the best combination for you to break the fast, minimize insulin spike. Now, along with this, we're gonna have fats. Protein and fats, best combination for you to break the fast. You're gonna minimize insulin spike, you're gonna feel fully satiated. What are the fats that you should be having? Let's see here some options. For example, my favorite source of fat for breakfast is simply avocado. Okay, avocado. This is great for testosterone, great source of magnesium, potassium. So not one whole avocado, by the way. It depends on the size. I personally have half avocado for breakfast, along with these sources of protein that I just showed you, and something that I have as well every day is Brazil nuts. By the way, don't go crazy on Brazil nuts, because this is what I consider mostly, this is a supplement, this is not a food. Why? Because this has a lot of selenium. Selenium is great for testosterone production, for immune system, but 2 Brazil nuts per day are more than enough. But you see here how simple it is to get protein, fats, and if you eat this, you're good already. You don't need more than this if you only eat this. However, I promised carbs, right? And I didn't say carbs are bad. Carbs, of course, it depends on the sources of carbs. I personally like this, which is, what is it? Sourdough bread. Sourdough bread, I have it every day. Okay, I have bread every day. I eat bread every day, oats, dates, honey, rice, sweet potato, and I'm at 9 to 10% body fat all year round. So this is just to show you that carbs are not bad. Carbs are great. Just you need to learn how to time them properly. You're gonna eat this, you're gonna be full. Trust me, you're not gonna be hungry 1 or 2 hours later. Compared to eating orange juice or bread or croissant or pastries for breakfast, you're gonna feel a huge difference. This is not gonna spike your insulin. This is gonna satiate you. You're not gonna have cravings. If you eat this for breakfast every single day, your metabolic markers will improve, your insulin levels will decrease, your glucose levels will decrease, your energy will be better, your body composition will improve. Everything will fall in place just if you eat these. And we're not overcomplicating. I'm literally giving you here 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 foods, 7 with the bread. Eat these 7 things and everything will change, trust me. So these are the 4 main pillars of a breakfast. High protein, completely cover. Healthy fats, avocado, couple of nuts. Be careful with the nuts, it's high calorie. And also avocado. Avocado is high in calories, but it's a good source of fat. Now, in case you're wondering how I see exactly how many grams I have of each one of the foods, just get this. This is a game changer, okay? Just get a scale so that you know exactly what you're putting in your body. And you don't need to do this all the time. If you do this for a couple of weeks, after that it's autopilot. You know exactly the portions that you should be having. But this is something that I would advise you to have, a scale to weigh your food so that you know exactly what you're putting. Track your calories, track your food for a couple of weeks, but it's a game changer, because most of the times I guarantee you're underestimating what you're eating. Track everything for, let's say, 4 weeks, all the oils, avocado oil, olive oil, all the sauces. You're gonna be surprised how many calories you're having. So track everything, get one of these, and it will be way easier for you to be held accountable and to track what you're eating and putting in your body. Fats were covered. Now we need fiber. Fiber, most people are under eating fiber, having maybe 10 grams, 12 grams of fiber per day, sometimes even less. Why is fiber good? Fiber will satiate you, it will improve your gut health, strengthen your immune system, and prevent cravings. So fiber is crucial. And how you're gonna get fiber? Simply by adding, for example, some berries. So, for example, sourdough bread is a good source of fiber. Berries, raspberries, great source of fiber. You can even have oats. You're gonna have some good quality sourdough bread. You can even have fruits, orange, some berries, which we talk about already in the fiber. The problem is, for example, I mentioned orange, not orange juice. Every time you do a juice, you remove all the fiber and you spike more your insulin. The good thing with fruits is that no one got fat by eating fruits. You can eat banana, you can eat berries. The problem is that if you only eat fruits and smoothies, you're removing most of the fiber from those nutrients. That's why orange juice, I'm not saying bad things about orange juice, you can still have your orange juice from time to time, but starting the day with orange juice spikes your insulin, 0 fiber. So at least eat the whole fruit, it has more fiber, it will satiate you a little bit more. All right, so let's start here. As you see here, we start with the Greek yogurt, but for the sake of today's breakfast, I'm gonna have this Greek yogurt, see, 200 grams. Then I like to add also some chia seeds. This is a great source of fiber that I didn't mention. Then what I like to have as well, and this I also have every day, great source of antioxidants and great for testosterone, some pomegranate seeds. Let's mix it here first, here, And then while I eat this, I'm simply gonna prepare my eggs, my egg whites, cottage cheese, the bread, and I'm gonna assemble everything and show you in a while the end result. All right, so I'm literally gonna show you here live my breakfast, all the macros, protein, fats, carbs, everything. The eggs are almost done. So as you see, man, this is so easy to get protein. If you eat this, trust me. And for you to have an idea, you can even see here, it's 9:35 a.m. I'm gonna eat this and my second meal will be maybe 3 or 4 p.m. I'm gonna be completely fine until then. I'm gonna get some work done, I'm gonna get my workout, all these things, and I'm not gonna be hungry because this meal will fully satiate me. I usually have 3 meals per day. This meal around 9:30 a.m. Then a second meal at 3 p.m., 3:30, and then my last one around 7 p.m. 3 meals a day, high protein, each one at least 60 to 70 grams of protein. That's how I get 200 grams of protein and around 3,000 calories or close to that, 2,700 to 3,000 calories a day. So here, cottage cheese, 145 grams, pumpkin seeds, Brazil nuts, pomegranate seeds, 2 eggs, chia seeds, avocado, sourdough bread, avocado oil, Greek yogurt, egg whites and sauerkraut. This is my breakfast. Gives me 866 calories, 70 grams of carbs, 32 grams of fats, and 75 grams of protein. So basically it gives me, my breakfast gives me around 1/3 of all that I need in one day. Basically 70 grams of carbs, I'm aiming for 3 times more, so around 250 to 300 grams of carbs a day, around that. It depends also if it's training day or non-training day. If I work out, I eat more carbs. If I don't work out, I eat less carbs. Fat and protein, I always keep constant throughout the day, most of the time around 200 grams of protein and around 80 to 90 grams of fat. So protein 75, carbs 70 grams, fiber 10 grams, not massive, but it's something good to aim for. My protein shake in the afternoon or my second meal, usually around 3 p.m, has a lot of fiber as well, because I combine oats with psyllium husk, with raspberries, with blackberries, so it's a lot of fiber. Of course, you want a little bit more. You can add a couple of egg whites, a little bit more cottage cheese, but right, you can have a great breakfast, 500 calories, let's say, with 40 grams of protein that will satiate you throughout the day, no cravings, and it will improve massively your metabolic markers. All right, so it's ready. Okay, and by the way, if you see that this is a lot for one plate, you still can use 2 plates. I just like to use 1 plate because I don't want to wash the dishes. So that's why I try to use minimum amount of plates, even though, of course, these would deserve a little bit more. So copy this meal, apply to your routine, and you're gonna see a huge difference, not only in your blood work, but on how you feel throughout the day. In case you want me to cover, for example, other meals such as lunch, dinner, snacks, protein shakes, just let me know down below in the comments. Now, time to enjoy this meal and stop thinking about food for the next 5, 6, or even 7 hours. I hope you enjoyed this one. Subscribe if you want more delicious meals like this, and I'll see you on the next one. Ciao, ciao.